Welcome to the third episode of Photography and Media Made Easy. I am PJ.
I am Pete, and I'm so glad to come back for our third episode. We have a lot to talk about. We've done a lot in March. I know we're kind of towards the end of the month, but both PJ and I actually had a couple of good adventures this past month, and we're both going to speak on that. I'm going to start off by saying I did had a vacation in March, and I went up to visit my dad, who lives upstate Pennsylvania. And what we're trying to do in this broadcast is basically project what we do in everyday life and related to photography, media, and such. So, long story short, I brought my cameras and my drone up to my dad's place. He lives upstate Pennsylvania. And we actually did a road trip to my old hunting grounds in Tioga County. If anybody knows, the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania is one of the most beautiful, picturesque experience that you'll ever see. It's amazing. It's basically the Grand Canyon with trees. I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Grand Canyon. I've been there once. Basically 10 minutes, you look and you're like, that's cool. But the Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania is something to behold. It's an amazing sight. I actually was able to get my drone up legally, and I got some videos that I do want to share with you. I'm still going through a lot of footage, so that will be coming that will be forthcoming. But I know PJ had a really eventful month. He did an epic video with that cheesesteak place. What's that called?
Oh yeah, Meatheads.
Meatheads,
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, our podcast is sponsored by the Traveling Taste Buds and Peter Johnson IV Photography. And if anybody else out there wants to sponsor us, we'd be more than welcome.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, speak a little bit on that. That was a pretty cool video. That was probably the best video that you've done to date, I think.
So I actually didn't even do that.
Well, you're a part of the video.
Yeah. So I will speak on that. So, whenever I get asked to go to certain restaurants and stuff, it's always like my vision of the video. It's kind of the same thing. Like, is this the best restaurant and whatever? But with that, it was cool because this guy named Tyler does the social media managing for that restaurant. He went viral with another restaurant, so like his type of videos work, and it was super cool to work with another guy that kind of does the same thing that I do, and that kind of relates to this podcast too, with having your own creative journey with media, and it was really cool. So the video came out really well.
Check it out. It's the slap of the cheesesteak in the face is probably it's epic. I'll leave it at that. Okay. And we're gonna jump around a little bit because we have a lot to talk about, and we don't want to go on for hours. We only try to keep this to 10 to 15 minutes tops. Try to get in a little bit of information, keep your attention, because we all know that if it goes too long, we lose you as an audience. And our audience is growing. It's huge. It's so huge that we're thinking about doing 2 shows per month. It's hard. Honestly, it's hard to do one show just to get the content and have some sort of resemblance of an itinerary. Mm-hmm. I did do something a little different. I shared it with PJ earlier today. So I got a lot of feedback from friends and family that are really interested in getting into photography. And we weren't being real specific, but that was never really our intention of this channel. It was more or less to just share our experiences, give you some tips here and there. And, we would get the feedback, and then I could actually personally walk you through different aspects of photography. I do have a prop. I actually have a couple props today. So I picked this up. It's a Pentax 645N. So what it is, it's a medium format film camera, SLR, which is single lens reflex. In layman's terms, single lens reflex means that when you're looking through the lens, you're actually seeing the image, as opposed to a viewfinder where you're looking through a lens. But
digital.
Or a viewfinder. The old viewfinders is you had a lens, but then the film, it was off center a little bit. So you would take a picture, and when you got back to, or you took a picture, and then when you got back to the actual picture, it was actually all center. So the SLR kind of changed all that, and then the interchangeable lenses and all that. I'm having so much fun with this camera. I brought this up to my dad's place. I haven't got the film back because I took a lot of black and white. Medium format film is 20% bigger, or larger I should say, than regular 35 millimeter film. And that's kind of huge. That's a huge percentage of, that means that you can take this film, especially if it's a good picture, and blow it up. To give you a perfect example, I'll show you that I took a picture of our dog Brittany, and I used an old medium frame camera, not this one particularly. The nice thing about this camera, it is automatic. You can actually put it on automatic settings, so you don't have to, it's not daunting like, oh my god, I'm shooting like this manual film camera that's a medium format. You can literally put it on automatic. I did put some pictures because a lot of people ask me, you know, what the aperture compensation means and things of that sort. So I actually put some pictures with some comments so you could actually see the dial that we're talking about. They kind of put a picture to what the words are coming out of our mouth. This camera, if you're really interested in shooting medium format film, which I highly recommend, you probably will never pick up a 35 millimeter camera again because the image is so incredible. The film's just slightly more expensive, but it's not that much different. You could actually get this. This is about a 10-year-old camera. It's in very good shape. It's excellent shape. I got this on eBay for about $600. Some people say, well, that's too much, but this camera new was about $3,500. So just to put it in perspective. So if anybody wants to get into the media format, I highly recommend that camera. I don't want to monopolize all the time. I did put also some pictures in the video that we'll be broadcasting tonight, actually. This is called a dock. And basically what this does is this takes everything that is wrapped in your computer, all your Thunderbolt cables, your USBs. If you have speakers, it literally has a spot for everything that is associated, whether you're into the video, doing a video production, or if you're into the photography. It wraps everything up in a nice, tidy, and this is on OWC, which is otherworldcomputer.com. I've bought things off of them for the last 10 years. Very reputable, very good prices. You could actually buy stuff that's slightly used, and you can get a good deal, and they actually give you a warranty on it. That being said,
that's great. That's like so useful.
I've had that for probably 2 or 3 years now, and I can't imagine not having it because you would be fuddling with wires and cables and things in it, and you'd be unplugging something. The other great thing is that actually has 2 slots for your memory card. So, like a lot of times when we're doing shows like this or whatever, you're going to have more than one memory card. That actually has a micro SD slot, and it has a regular SD slot. Okay. So I could actually put 2 slots in there, and I do have an adapter for a third, because sometimes you do actually put 3 slots.
Does that connect with a USB-C?
It does. It's USB-C, and it's actually a Thunderbolt 3 cable. Okay, so the newer ones are Thunderbolt 4, which are very, very fast. Yeah. So anyway. Interesting. I also did want to mention, because PJ, I mentioned this to you before we did this, I guess last week. Storage seems to be a problem for a lot of people, and I've seen this very recently. Especially with, I had a family member. She was like going through her phone, and she's like, "Oh, I had to delete pictures from 2016." Don't delete pictures. Don't ever delete pictures, because the picture you delete is that one picture, and you're like, "Oh, you know what? I remember a picture I took, in 2016 that would be perfect for this." Do not delete pictures. Put them on a memory card. Put them on an external hard drive. And then if you want to just make sure they're backed up, and then you can get rid of the picture. Don't just go through your phone and just start deleting pictures, because you took time to take that picture or that video, and you're just deleting it so you can put other memories on it, which is fine if you have no other choice. But literally, it's such a cost-effective way. You can clean up your phone, put it all on you can buy a memory card, literally, a 256 gig memory card. It would hold pretty much anybody's photo library in their phone. $20. For $30, maybe a real good one, $50. Folks, it's worth the $50, honestly.
And also, there's a lot of cost-effective ways. Like Google Photos has been huge for the past
Excellent point.
5 years, completely free, unless you go over the storage, which maybe you do. Even that, like I have a Google membership that's like $2 a month or something, and you get like a terabyte or something. So it's definitely worth it. I have all my pictures, and you always have storage on your iPhone. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I did also put in the pictures. Again, it's going to be associated with this video because you folks have been asking for it. So I gave you what I use. I have a 4-bay external hard drive, and you might say, well, why do you need that? I literally have 4 bays, and each bay has 16 terabytes. So if you do the quick math, that's 64 terabytes. Okay. You say, okay, well, that's more than a lifetime. Well, guess what, folks? I've probably used up probably three-fourths of it. Now, here's the thing. I've been taking videos and pictures since I was a kid, as I said in earlier episodes. The thing that took up the most memory was the digital videos that we took before we went digital. Like the digital video cameras that you actually had to tape. I converted all them to digital and put them on my computer. Well, they use up massive amount of space, but I felt I wanted to get them onto a digital format in case, God forbid, something ever happened.
right.
It was, basically it was backed up and protected. So, again, I went through Other World Computer, OWC, and I bought that. I invested, a decent amount of money for that, but I felt like the investment was worth it because that's something that I do as a passion. And I have those videos forever. When PJ and Megan get older, and if they ever have kids, they could always go back and there'll be a library of videos and photos that will always be there at a fingertip. So I just felt that was important to mention.
So I'm looking at the list.
Mm-hmm.
So your Instax, how do you say Insta360?
Oh, the Insta360. I am gonna.
How do you like that?
I am gonna. I actually took this up to my dad's also, and I am gonna in our next episode. I'm gonna dive into this quite a bit, and give you some examples of. I will say that the app for the Insta360 is literally the best app I've ever used, and I've never been an app guy. Trust me. I always go on to the computer and do my own stuff, and I put it on Final Cut Pro or whatever, basically Final Cut Pro or Lightroom. But the app makes it so much easier because it literally you can do different great things. You can change the sky. It's just really eye capturing. It's literally the best. I've had the GoPro.
So it's like an editing app.
It's an editing app, and it's like a 15-minute video, and I basically walked around like my dad's place, and I put like they give you like 20 different. You could have the North Star sky. You could have a swirling carousel sky. I mean, you could have all kinds of different skies. So I'm definitely going to devote a good portion of next episode to this. So we have this waiting in the wings.
Cool.
This is a really.
I heard good things about that camera.
It's probably one of my favorite tools right now. Honestly, the 360. It's so clear. It shoots in 5K. It's incredible.
And that's also interesting because you also used the GoPro Fusion, which was the 360 camera, basically kind of like that. And it's interesting that it sounds like you like that one more.
Well, and to touch on that, I actually shopped both because they have a new version of GoPro has a new version. I have the Fusion, and the new one it's called something else, but it's similar. Mm-hmm. It's a 360 camera. And I went back and forth, and the price was about the same. I just wasn't sold on the GoPro 360. I still shoot a lot of GoPro action footage on the regular GoPro. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, there's nothing better still. Mm-hmm. But as far as the 360, what's the word? 360 pictures or videos. Yeah. That is, I think, right now the best.
Early review, early take.
Actually, I've been shooting with it for about 3 months now. I also wanted to touch, and this is something that PJ could probably jump in on. I watch a lot of videos and like people that are very like a lot of photographers that they're like yeah, hey, listen, when you're young, take chances. The more chances you take, the better off you'll be. Especially in your 20s. Your 20s are space, in my opinion, your 20s are meant to be the chance-taking decade. You fail a lot. Hopefully, you succeed a lot, and then you'll find out where your niche is. But if you wanted to talk on that, because you just started a new job,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to move this over because you're probably
All right, cool. Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about that. So, there's actually when I was going through the whole traveling taste buds thing, I was watching a lot of like motivational stuff. A lot of actors, like I forget who it was. It was Dwight from The Office. He had a quote where he's like,
You can never go wrong quoting The
yeah,
Office.
but like it was the actor. It wasn't like from the show. And he was talking about how exactly like what you said, like they're a chance, like a whole decade of, testing things out. But my only issue, like obviously growing up, and I mean, I feel like everyone grew up in the same thing. It doesn't matter the decade, but like college, I think makes you choose, and then you feel like at such an early age, like you have to succeed, like in your early 20s. So it's kind of refreshing to hear that like it's all about like taking chances and having something that you're going to do for the rest of your life is like kind of crazy when you pick at 18. Like,
Well, and the thing is, just have enough money, to pay the bills,
yeah,
and do the things you want to do to go away. Because obviously, if you don't have the money, you can't take chances. Obviously,
right.
But when I say take chances, you know what? Take chances in everything. Take chances in life, your career, because you don't get a second chance. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I equate that to photography. I've always tried to take chances with different pictures and different viewpoints. And one thing I didn't really touch on the last, and it was in our itinerary, but we didn't have enough time to really get into it. Great segue, right? Is double exposure. Okay, now I'm going to actually get more in depth with this. This is something that's a really, really cool effect. Basically, what double exposure is, a lot of the cameras, this camera in particular has it. It has a setting where you could actually hold the negative and you take multiple pictures. Now you would say, well, why would you do that? Well, if you ever had a sunset and the sun's going down and it's like at the end and it's a perfect picture, and you're like, man, that would be great if I could put 2 or 3 pictures on one. Well, you can do that, even on a film camera. You just hold the negative. It's actually a button that you'll switch, and the negative won't advance. So you just keep taking a picture. I don't recommend taking 5, 6 pictures, but maybe 2 or 3, and you get a really, really nice effect. I again will show that in more detail in our next video.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like an example would be, because I feel like when you hear double exposure, you're talking about like the picture where like it almost looks like slow motion, like a waterfall.
No, what I'm talking about is, like, let's just say I took a picture of Brittany, right, and I took another one like 2 seconds after, and maybe it's a different her, like having a different look, and you have 2 pictures of one. And I'm not saying for a messy like type picture, but maybe she has that look in the one picture, and in the other picture she's like smiling. That would be kind of a cool, it'd be kind of a cool effect.
I know you're saying.
I'm equating it to a sunset where, like, maybe you get a picture right before the sun actually disappears into the sky, and then you have a picture like where the sun is just reflecting off the sky. I mean, you could do anything. I mean, it could be landscape. It could actually be taking pictures of people. I mean, whatever. I took a picture of a bell one time. It was ringing, and it wasn't ringing. It was stationary, but it had the effect that it was ringing.
That's cool.
So that was a cool effect. So to that effect. And I do want to touch on, because I did get actually some feedback or flack, if you will, about this comment. I always get flack, stuff I say, but that's all right. I'm me. Okay, I'm a big component of shooting in RAW. There is going to be times where you're going to want to shoot in JPEG. Okay, I know that goes against kind of what I was been saying, but let me qualify that. Okay, so if PJ was on, let's say he's doing a shoot for one, traveling taste buds, and he's actually taking pictures and video or whatever, more for pictures. and he's taking pictures, still pictures, and he has to upload them quickly. Well, it probably wouldn't be reasonable to take them in RAW, because you would have to take them home, and then you do post production, and you clean them up, and you basically edit them. With JPEG, what it's doing, it's editing it for you. And in today's cameras, the JPEGs are very good. They'll take the light, they think the light should be, the background color. They basically colorize it and expose it for you and compress it for you, so you can actually send it through the internet or upload it on social media. Now, a lot of raw pictures you can't just upload. I mean, I have to compress them in Lightroom to be able to put them on Facebook, believe it or not. And that's the same thing with the new iPhone 14 Pro. You can shoot in RAW, which I like shooting in RAW because it's a real clear picture. But you can't upload them immediately to Facebook. You have to go into Facebook and upload. Now, the difference being, like, if I take a picture and I have it in my photo library, instead of just putting that picture, you can't do it.
Oh, I've actually never used that feature.
Yeah, but I do it once in a blue moon. If I just want to send one picture, you actually have to go into Facebook and upload it, and then what it's doing is it's automatically compressing it for you. So that's that.
The more you know.
Yep. But anyway, I want you to kind of close this out here.
All right. Well, yeah.
I did all the talking here.
Yeah.
I mean, you did a lot of talking last time, so I had a lot to say.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be. I mean, again, I'm going to reiterate, we do this live. We don't edit. We just get up here. We have kind of an idea of what we're going to talk about. And it's right here. It's no big secret.
Yeah,
we kind of look down at the notes and we just go. Sometimes it's 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 15 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, with that, I really don't have anything else to say. Comment down below what you guys want us to talk about, because, this, as much as this is a show for us to do, it's also a show for us to tell you about things that we know and things that we don't know, and so just.
And we're learning from you, actually.
Any feedback is greatly appreciated.
And I do want to give a couple teasers for the next episode.
The Insta.
We're going to talk about the Insta. We're also going to talk about fixed lens cameras as compared to interchangeable lens camera. Which one's better for you?
Oh. If
you're the average shooter that wants to just take really nice pictures, but you're not really concerned about like zooming in on a dime or anything like that, we'll explore that, and then different price points for DSLRs. What's too much to spend, what's not enough to spend. In my humble opinion, I think $400 to $600 if you're starting out. If you buy a $200 camera, let's be honest,
it's not good.
In this day and age, $200 doesn't buy a whole lot.
And also, if you're gonna make the extra investment, your phone is better than a $200 camera.
Pretty much, absolutely.
Like, 100%. Why would you? Yeah, if you're gonna go all in on getting a camera, it has to at least be better than your iPhone.
Absolutely.
So.
And I'm gonna leave you all with this. Stay focused and keep shooting. All right.